In a post-apocalyptic world, a family is forced to live in silence while hiding from monsters with ultra-sensitive hearing. That was the tagline of A Quiet Place with Emily Blunt and John Krasinski. The Internet Movie Database gave it a rating of 7.5 out of 10. With the announcement of the sequel, we wanted to know, why the sequel? What are the questions from the first part that need answering? We went digging and made this little video for you. We hope you enjoy it. This is A Quiet Place 2. Biggest questions the sequel must answer. But before we get into the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on so you don't miss any of the new videos we post. What happened in A Quiet Place? Most of Earth's human population has been annihilated by blind creatures with hypersensitive hearing that attack anything that makes noise. They are covered in armor which protects them from bullets and explosives. The Abbott family, wife Evelyn, husband Lee, deaf daughter Regan, and sons Marcus and Bo silently scavenge for supplies in a deserted town. Going barefoot while out in the open, the family communicates in American Sign Language. 4-year-old Bo is drawn to a battery-powered space shuttle toy, but Lee takes it away due to the noise it would make. Regan returns the toy to Bo, who also takes the batteries that his father removed from it. Bo activates the toy when the family is walking home while crossing a bridge, alerting a nearby creature that kills him before Lee can save him. Over a year later, Regan struggles with guilt over her brother's death. Evelyn enters the final stages of pregnancy, and Lee fruitlessly tries to make radio contact with the outside world. Lee attempts to upgrade Regan's cochlear implant with scavenged mini-ear amplifiers to restore her hearing, but the devices are ineffective. Later, Lee takes Marcus to a nearby river with a large waterfall to teach him how to fish, while Regan abandons her mother to visit Bo's memorial. Lee explains to Marcus that they are safe from the creatures in the presence of louder and constant sounds, as the sounds mask over their voices and do not attract creatures. Marcus says that Regan blames herself for Bo's death and needs her father to tell her he still loves her. Alone at the house, Evelyn goes into labor. While making her way to the basement, she accidentally steps on an exposed nail with her right foot and drops a glass picture frame that alerts a nearby creature. Evelyn flips a switch that changes the exterior house lights to red as a signal to the others and struggles to remain silent during her contractions. Arriving at the farm and seeing the lights, Lee instructs Marcus to set off fireworks as a diversion. Lee finds Evelyn hiding in the bathroom with their newborn son and, along with Evelyn, makes his way to their improvised soundproof basement. Lee leaves to find the other children, promising Evelyn he will protect them. Evelyn then falls asleep but soon wakes to discover that the barn basement is flooded with water from a broken pipe and that a creature is inside with her. Regan takes refuge atop a grain silo with Marcus, lighting a fire to alert their father of their whereabouts. However, they run out of lighter fluid and the fire dies before they can attract Lee's attention. A hatch door then suddenly gives way, and Marcus falls into the silo. The sound of the door falling distracts the creature that was stalking Evelyn, and it targets Marcus and Regan. Regan, who has jumped in after Marcus, sinks into the corn and nearly suffocates, but Marcus saves her. Regan's cochlear implant reacts to the proximity of the creature by emitting a high-frequency sound that drives it away. The children escape from the silo and reunite with their father. The creature returns, attacking and wounding Lee, while Marcus and Regan hide inside a pickup truck. After seeing his father wounded, Marcus shouts impulsively, attracting the creature to the truck. Lee signs to Regan that he loves her and always has, before yelling to draw the creature away from his children. The creature, hearing Lee's voice, attacks and kills him. Regan and Marcus roll the truck down a hill to escape and reunite with Evelyn and the baby at the farmhouse. The four retreat to the house's basement. When the creature returns, Regan, who realizes that the sound made by the implant distresses the creature, switches the device back on and places it on a nearby microphone, amplifying the feedback. Painfully disoriented, the creature exposes the flesh beneath its armored head, allowing Evelyn to fatally shoot it with a shotgun. The family views a CCTV monitor showing two creatures attracted by the noise of the shotgun blast approaching the house. With their newly acquired knowledge of the creature's weakness, the members of the family arm themselves and prepare to fight back. The cast of A Quiet Place 2. Emily Blunt is Evelyn Abbott, the mother of 4 children, Regan, Marcus, Bo, who died in the first film, and baby Abbott, and the widow of Lee Abbott, who died in the first film. Cillian Murphy is Emmett, a former family friend of Lee. Murphy described his character Emmett, "For me, Emmett represents where the heart of the world lies right now, which is finally feeling like they've all given up. Here comes this girl, Regan, who allows you to believe in more and allows you to believe in yourself. That idea I've always been really enthralled by." Millicent Simmons is Regan Abbott, Evelyn's deaf daughter. Simmons, who is deaf in real life, described her character's evolution after the first film. "She has a lot of pressure her to become an adult very quickly. She has more of a leading role in the sequel. Simmons worked with an ASL coach to make sure her signing and articulation were clean. She said she felt a sense of pressure being in a position to represent the deaf and hard of hearing. Noah Jupe is Marcus Abbott, Evelyn's son. Jimon Hunsu is Man on Island, one of the many civilians on the island colony. John Krasinski is Lee Abbott, Evelyn's deceased husband and father of her children. He appears in newly filmed flashback sequences set before the events of the film. Krasinski said he wrote himself into the sequel because the film was such a personal experience and his love letter to his children. He said, "It was really important for me to continue the metaphor and we actually start dealing with how this all started. The plot for A Quiet Place 2. Skip this section if you've not seen the sequel, as it contains important spoilers. The Abbott family, mother Evelyn, deaf daughter Reagan, and son Marcus have discovered that the alien creatures that have invaded Earth are weak against the high-frequency audio feedback from Reagan's cochlear implant hearing aid. Evelyn has killed the creatures that murdered her husband Lee and attacked their isolated home. With their home destroyed, the family departs with Evelyn's newborn baby to search for any human communities left. Reagan also brings a microphone and radio to help them against the creatures by transmitting her hearing aid's noise. They run across Emmett, a family friend of Lee, who helps the family after Marcus gets injured by a bear trap, and he takes them to his bunker where he has lived and survived. Marcus and Reagan discover a radio signal that plays the song Beyond the Sea on a loop, which originates from an island nearby. Reagan plans to find a way to the radio tower to instead transmit the high-frequency noise her hearing aid produces so anyone picking up the signal can use it against the creatures. Reagan is forced to venture out on her own after Marcus threatens to tell Evelyn. After discovering that Reagan had left, Evelyn pleads with Emmett to go find her and bring her back, which he does. However, after Reagan explains her plan to Emmett, he decides to help her complete the mission. Back at Emmett's base, Evelyn leaves Marcus and her newborn to get the medical supplies they require. Marcus exits the bunker and explores the compound, accidentally knocking a few objects over and alerting a nearby alien to his location. As Emmett and Reagan look for a boat to reach the island, they run into feral people who tie bottles around Emmett and begin to search Reagan for supplies. Emmett tells Reagan to dive as he begins making noise to attract the aliens' attention, who proceed to kill the feral people. One of the creatures drowns while trying to get Emmett in the water as it cannot swim. Reagan and Emmett approach the island where they find a colony of people living normal lives after isolating themselves on the island. The two learn that the government had realized the creatures could not swim. The National Guard has as many people as possible moved to the islands. Meanwhile, Evelyn returns to the compound with the supplies and hides inside the bunker with Marcus and the infant, with the alien waiting outside the door for them. The next day, Emmett discovers that they accidentally brought aboard one of the creatures, which arrives at the colony and kills several civilians. They lure the creature to the radio station and it follows them inside. The alien eventually hears Reagan and Emmett, slicing Emmett with its claws. Questions answered in the sequel. Skip this section if you have not seen the sequel, as it contains important spoilers. How can the signal that weakens the aliens be used to fight the aliens on a large worldwide scale? We found out that by transmitting the signal via radio station, anybody who can play it out loud can protect themselves against the aliens. Are there any other communities alive in the world? We found out that there are other communities living normal lives. If there are other communities alive out there, why are they alive, or what keeps them safe? The reason why there are other communities living normal lives is because the aliens cannot swim. These communities live on islands. There you have it, the questions that the sequel answers. The sequel will be released on May 28, 2021. Be sure to watch it if you enjoyed the first one and want to know where the story goes. One thing we do not know is if there will be a third movie. What do you think? Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video, but be sure to check back for the next one in our lineup. Until then, take care.